It's finally happening. Microsoft Flight Simulator is turning its attention to the Southern Hemisphere. World Update 13 will feature Oceania, and in terms of area, this will be one of the largest updates Flight Sim has ever had. At 20 million kilometers, this is a truly huge region. Now, on screen, you can see some screenshots of the region itself. There's going to be, I think, 140, maybe 150 different points of interest, and this makes complete sense. After all, the area will cover Guam, Easter Islands, the Galapagos Islands, oh dear. It's also going to include Hawaii, the Cook Islands, and much more. Now, most importantly, I think, at least for me, as far as I'm concerned, perhaps, is going to be Antarctica. Now, of course, Antarctica isn't new to the sim, it's been there ever since day one, but for anyone who's flown over there, you'll have noticed one specific thing. Generally, the area is extremely flat, it's generally very grey, and extremely boring. This has been down to the way that, essentially, the sim wraps the terrain around that particular area, in addition to the fact that very few planes fly over that region, so there's virtually no satellite imagery. The good news is that both Asobo and Bing have been hard at work rewriting volumes of the code, huge chunks of the code, to make it so that Antarctica will now be far more interesting. So that's an area I'm particularly looking forward to. Do let me know in the comments section how you feel about that yourself. Now, in addition to the islands that I mentioned previously, there's 13 countries that will be added. These include Micronesia, Indonesia, the Marshall Islands, Fiji, Kiribati, Nauru, Palau, Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and Tonga, in addition to the other areas I've already mentioned and listed on the screen right here. Now, Tonga is one that stands out to me because, as many of you will no doubt remember, there was a massive volcanic eruption here in that area last year. So right now, Tonga isn't up to date in terms of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and indeed that area does look very different to how it once did. The massive eruption was essentially earth-shaking and really did redefine the geography there. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Flight Simulator data will be up to date in regards to that. So overall then, the images that we're seeing here do look very, very nice. It looks like it's going to be a really good update, and I'm really glad to see that Microsoft are turning their attention to the Southern Hemisphere. Also looking forward to, in future, further Southern Hemisphere updates such as Brazil, and we do know from the feedback snapshot that this will be a future upcoming update. Now, in addition to the various countries that are being updated with improved terrain data and the other points of interest that are being added, World Updates always come with other content as well. World Update 13 is no exception. It will include 3 bush trips, 4 discovery flights, and 3 landing challenges. You'll have also noticed that some of the screenshots I showed here do include some of the research stations which can be found in Antarctica, and these look really, really good from the images that we've seen. Now, a lot of this content hasn't been produced directly by Microsoft or Asobo. It has been created by Orbex, who generally specialize in a lot of content for flight simulators, both Microsoft Flight Simulator as well as some of the other sims out there. The good news here is that most of their content is nearly always up to a really good standard, so Microsoft has certainly partnered up with a great team here, and I know Orbex have added content in the past to the various updates. Currently, we don't have a set specific release date for World Update 13. We know it's going to be sometime in April, likely, at least based on what we're seeing on the roadmap here, towards the end of April. Either way, it's pretty much hot on the heels of Sim Update 13, or Sim Update 12 rather, and seems to be following the trend of Microsoft releasing around about 10 to 12 updates every year. And don't forget, one thing I forgot to mention is that the World Update 13 will contain a whole load of new airports, 14 of them in fact. So, out of the screenshots we've seen here, do let me know which areas you want to visit the most. For me, it's going to be the Indonesian temples that you can see right here, as well as the Antarctica research stations. Both of those I'm really keen to see, and most importantly of all, I really want to check out the new terrain of Antarctica. Do let me know your thoughts and feelings about all of this in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.